live stream on the YouTube channel. I would like to just welcome you guys to the YouTube channel. Make sure you tap into the subscription button every single time I go live with a live video. Every single time I go live with a video or once published, you'll be one of the first to get it. Turn those subscriber bells on. Without further ado, we're going to get right into some of the hot takes. I'm going to give you some of the hottest takes of the week. Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, from a standpoint, NFL-wise, and when you're looking at everything he's done in his career, he's been successful. When you look at the stint he had with the Giants, right now he was benched. He's benched behind Jackson Dart, who looks like the savior of the New York Football Giants. And you're just asking yourself, is this the end of Russell Wilson as we know it? Probably. Russell Wilson is one of those guys that does the right thing and says the right thing and doesn't really want any type of pushback or want any type of backlash or any type of, aggressiveness. So he's going to play the nice guy role. He's going to say the nice guy things. But essentially, when you look at just the direction of the New York Football Giants, Jackson Dart possibly could have saved their season. Him, Cam, Scatterboo, Ward. Just from the standpoint of the Giants' culture, just the energy shock of what they've put into the atmosphere, the Giants look totally different, and they're the same exact team. So that lets me know and when you saw Russell Wilson get in against the Eagles and you saw the bad throw, you were just like, huh? Like the energy just changed. So I think from the standpoint, they were respectful. Coach Dable and company were respectful of Russell Wilson. They allowed him to have the opportunity of being the first guy to start the season, and when it didn't go right, they pulled the plug on that quickly. Now, mind you, his completion percentage was down. QBR was down. Yes, he threw a couple of touchdowns, but yes, the Giants weren't winning. You insert Jackson Dart, and all of a sudden the team starts winning. The energy's different. The wide receivers are running a little faster. The routes are more crisp. It just seems like everything's sped up, and the energy and Cam Scatterboo's energy as well just shot through the roof. Now you look at the Giants and potentially keeping their jobs, coaching staff-wise. You look at over in Indy. Were we wrong about Daniel Jones? Were we wrong about Daniel Jones? The answer is yes. The Giants did not give him the proper things needed in order for him to do well. Right now, the Colts are looking at 4-1, and you're looking at them possibly going at 5-1, 6-1. The next couple of games that they got are wins that are easily winnable. And when you're looking at overall what they're doing and how they're doing it, the Colts have a very impressive season. A lot of people talked about, possible losses. They beat the Broncos. Look how well the Broncos are playing. They had a close game against the Rams, and look at what the Rams are doing. You look at what they've done against the Raiders. They beat the hell out of them. They beat the Cardinals like they're supposed to, and they also beat the Dolphins like they were supposed to. This team beats the teams that they're supposed to and puts them away quickly. And when you're looking at overall the Colts scheme, when you look at just the offense and how the defense is playing and rallying behind Daniel Jones in the offense, you ask yourself, okay, Taylor's there, the offensive line is there, the wide receivers are here, the tight end that they wanted is there. The sky's the limit for this young team, which leads me to believe that the Giants did not develop him properly, and you just hope that Jackson Dart gets a better choice of treatment from this team. They have a lot to think about, a lot to look for. The Cincinnati Bengals, if you were not watching, they made a trade for Joe Flacco, and let's just be clear. Against the Packers, the Bengals look like an actual NFL team. Again, having Flacco at the quarterback and him just being there for a couple of days, he was able to muster up a better stat line than Jake Browning did the entire time that he's been backing up Joe Burrow, excuse me. The offense looked better. They were able to get the ball to Jamar Chase very quickly. They essentially got the ball out there, and he was slinging the ball left and right to anybody that can catch the ball. Now, moving forward for the season, I think that this is going to help the Bengals because the Bengals now can take a breath of fresh air and say, okay, well, we lost 4 in a row. We won our first 2. So that puts us in a situation where we're 2-4, but the season's not over. Possibly could they do more? Possibly could they shake loose? Possibly could they do some other things? Yes, the answer is yes. But the question is, are they going to be able to do that in time to catch up in the AFC North, where you have the Browns that are bad, you have the Ravens right now that are bad, and you have the Pittsburgh Steelers who essentially are just 2 games up at what their record is. So with everything all in totality, the Bengals season is yet to be over. And if they're in a position where they're winning games, they got a game against the Steelers coming up. If they can win that game coming up, they pull a little bit closer to the Steelers. Now, mind you, defensively, they're trash. They're trash. The Bengals are they give up a lot of points. They give up a lot of yards. And they don't really function in a manner that's championship ready. But I think that if Joe Flacco can connect with Jamar Chase as we saw him, that can help them win a couple of games. That can keep them relevant as far as the wild card playoff goes. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to win a division, but just hear me out. Joe Flacco gives them a better opportunity to win some games. So, when you're looking at this weekend's games, you got a couple of different games I'm excited to be watching. This weekend, I want to see exactly what Bengals can do against that Steelers defense. That Steelers defense is opportunistic. Jalen Ramsey and company have been hitting on all cylinders. They've been firing and getting interceptions. They've been getting turnovers. They've been helping the offense by staying off the field. They've been making sure that the offense can rest. And now you're seeing all these things that are happening. The Steelers actually look like a good football team. One of the most exciting matchups I want to see the Los Angeles Rams against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That young defense that's been opportunistic. Are they going to improve and slow down Matthew Stafford in this offense? Puka Nacua has been going off. Doesn't matter who's guarding them. Doesn't matter how many defenders are on them. Doesn't matter if it's single coverage, double coverage, or they have the safety over top or safety under. It does not matter. Puka Nacua is catching the ball. Matthew Stafford has that number one relationship with him where he's going to throw him the ball and he's going to test every corner, every linebacker, every safety you have until you prove to him that he can't catch the ball. Are the Bears for real? The Bears won that game, as we saw the last game of the week, and you saw exactly how the offense was able to come back and win that game. But are the Bears real? They've had a number of games where they've won by 1 point or more. And it's that there's 2, 3, 4-point wins, then you're asking yourself, are the Bears for real? I believe they are. Ben Johnson and company work extremely hard for that offense. And I think that what they're doing each week just shows you that they're growing as a unit. They're growing as a team. And it's tough, but, they're winning in different ways. That defense needs to improve because if that defense doesn't improve, they're going to have to score 35-plus a game. That's not realistic for the Bears offense. Looking at Cleveland versus Miami. These are two teams that are going in the same direction, down the drain. Hopefully we'll see Shedeur Sanders playing at some point in time. The Tennessee Titans are taking on the New England Patriots. That gives Coach Vrabel a chance to go home where he first started his head coaching career with the Tennessee Titans, who just fired their coach, Brian Callahan. Now you ask yourself, what's going on with the ownership for the Titans? They're trash. Let's just be honest, they're trash. The whole ownership group, trash. And when you think about this, what better to do than to kick their butt from the Patriots? Drake May, an exciting young quarterback who has the moxie, who has the savvy, who has the big arm, who has the excitement of the NFL right now because he essentially is showing everybody, hey, this is my show. This is what I'm doing. And it's working well for him. It's working well for him. It's working for the offense. And I like the fact that the New England Patriots and Stephon Diggs are getting off to a great start in these games because it's giving them something to build off of each and every week. And you're seeing this team come out and fire on all cylinders. I expect them to win big for Vrabel. Patrick Mahomes and company are back. I expect them to spank the Raiders. This Eagles-Vikings game looks good. We know that the history of the Minnesota Vikings losing to the Eagles as of late has been very consistent. I know that's a 1.5 over for the Philadelphia Eagles in that line. I don't expect the game to be that much. I don't expect them to go over in that one. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles have what it takes to keep it low scoring, and they'll be able to run the football against them. I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley, and they're going back to their regular ways. I don't think they're going back to this style where they're throwing for almost 300 yards a game because they're losing that. And to me, I know A.J. Brown's upset. You can feature him more, but they're going to have to go back to running the football like they did. Being consistent, being a part of the game plan where you could break free and beat teams because you're physically beating them down. That's a part of what it is. I think the Philadelphia Eagles have forgotten who they are, and they're going to remember who they are very quickly against the Vikings because that defense is going to force you to make some choices whether you want to or not. Carolina against the Jets. Carolina, they have a chance to kick the Jets while they're down, while everybody else is doing it too. To keep the Jets defeated for the season, to make sure they don't get a win. And Aaron Glenn looks crazy in the media because he oftentimes is looking bad. And you got to ask yourself, what's next for the Jets? Will Woody Johnson be impatient? Will he fire him? Will he step in and start making moves? We know that Woody Johnson makes moves. We know that sometimes he steps in and replaces quarterbacks like he did with Aaron Rodgers last year. So you just got to ask yourself, what's the next move for this Jets team? Is it replacing the quarterback? Is it doing something and firing a coach or a coordinator? Remains to be seen, but they have to start winning games because Woody Johnson is impatient. Looking at the Jets versus Broncos, this is probably the game of the week for next week, and this is a powerful game because both these teams are potentially on the rise. When you look at the Broncos being in the AFC, that defense is shutting down teams left and right. The only team that essentially on the AFC that you're thinking is dominant, but the offense for the Broncos has not been firing like we thought they would. Sean Payton team being led by defense, who would have heard of that? Who would have heard of that? Are you used to this? I'm not used to it. But one of the things that remains to be seen is they're winning in different ways. Bo Nix is not having the best season, and we're having to see him, be creative in the way that he gets the guys the ball. They're not generating a lot of offense. The pass rush is not really where it needs to be, but the corners are playing lockdown defense. They're playing some of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Their stats are limited on offense to what they're doing. That's what you want to see from a team. Broncos, heavy led by defense. Defense, defense, defense. That's what you're seeing. And you just got to ask yourself, at what point in time do you think that the offense is going to kick in? Could be this game. But Jackson Dart and company have their own plans. And Cam Scottaboo has his own plans for what he plans to do on Sunday, which is him holding his tongue out, yelling, screaming, running to the end zone. Ah! It's refreshing. Like little kids playing football. It's refreshing. The Giants. I'm an Eagles fan, and I love to see the passion in the Giants. I hate the Giants, but seeing them be back, it's refreshing. Makes it more competitive. Makes it better for the game. That's what you want to see, a competitive division. The Colts and Chargers. That could end up being a snoozer. Just depends on what Chargers team shows up. Will Justin Herbert throw for 300 yards and throw for a couple of interceptions? Or will he play to the game plan, stick to the run game, and try to do what they can do and muster up yards and do the play action? Go to Ladd McConkey and then get Keenan Allen involved and do it that way. Or will he try to be the hero and play it that way? You see, Justin Herbert, when he plays hero ball, they're not successful. They're not good. But when he plays to the game plan, he stays, keep everything in front of him, play with a level-headed neck, boom, boom, boom. Just give you what the defense takes. Like, essentially, if the defense is giving you an under, take that 5-yard play. If the defense is giving you 3 yards and the cloud does, give it to them. Because essentially what you're going to do in the fourth quarter, you're going to dwindle them down, and all of a sudden, boom, them passing lanes are wide open. Everything that they let you have, all of a sudden, the gates are open and you can throw those bombs. You can throw those bombs deep. But you got to stick to the game plan and allow them to sleep. When you think about the Colts are not a team that's going to make a lot of mistakes, but they will occasionally give up a big play in the fourth quarter. We've seen it. So it says, seeing them talk shit on our fans before the game in Philly was like, it's always tougher. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. But you got to think, though, in divisional games, anything can happen, fam. Anything can happen. Because you never know. Because they know each other. They face each other 2 times a year. Sometimes they make the playoffs 3 times a year. But understand that essentially in division games, you can't really put a bow on it. How many times have you seen a division game where one team's clearly better than the other, and all of a sudden they flip the script? And that divisional team that's down, that's having a bad year, looks like a world beater as they're whipping their ass. That's part of what it is. Looking at Washington Commanders take on the Dallas Cowboys. This one's going to be fun because it's going to be a lot of offense and no defense. Both these defenses for Washington and Dallas have a lot to be offered on the table. When you think about how disappointing they've been, when you think about how many plays they've given up, how many big plays downfield, how many bombs they've let go over their head, that's where we are with this one. When I look at Dallas, I think, okay, they could have won at least 2 more games if the defense showed up. They could have gotten out of that tie if they would have done something against Green Bay earlier in that game. And you think about this, Dak Prescott just sitting back there patting the ball. The offensive line is doing their job. Let's face it, the offense for the Dallas Cowboys, hurt or not, is doing their job. Dak is getting these 300-yard games. They're falling behind. How impressive is a 300-yard game if you're losing? You just got to ask yourself, how impressive is it if you're losing? Oftentimes we don't really call a spade a spade. Sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. Jerry Jones needs to get a defensive star in there. Trading Michael Parsons led to a bigger hole that was there before when Michael was there. It's a bigger hole there. It's a much bigger hole there. And my God, let me ask a question. What happens if the Washington Commanders get rolling offensively? It's going to be a field day. It's going to be a field day. And they're going to keep panning the camera to Jerry Jones, and he's going to look like a little baby, like a Gerber baby. Don't let Jerry Jones smile. You see them yellow teeth. But no, the next game on the docket, Green Bay versus Arizona. I expect Green Bay to handle their business against the Cardinals. I expect that to be game over with quickly, no matter if they have Kyler Murray or not. The Atlanta Falcons versus the 49ers. I expect the Atlanta Falcons experience. I expect their role players and their stars to show up. They have the advantage over the 49ers because a lot of the veterans on that team are hurt, and they don't have a full complement of stars to power up to go against the Atlanta Falcons. In a perfect world where these guys are healthy, the Atlanta Falcons come out and do business. They come out with Bijan Robinson and Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and they dominate from those three. But history tells us it's not going to go that way. It may be a little different, but we're going to get to the same way that we're going to get to the end with a victory. Atlanta Falcons get the big win. Tampa versus Detroit. That's going to be a big game, folks. A lot of offense in that one. The defense will pop up occasionally, but then again, you got to ask yourself, Baker Mayfield coming down with the moxie, the MVP type season. No Mike Evans, no Godwin, but they're still dominating. They're hitting the tight ends. They're hitting the backup wide receivers. They're hitting the running backs with big plays. And they're winning with defensive calls late in the football game. They're limiting what other teams are doing and taking those points from turnovers on downs or either turnovers, straight out interceptions, or forced fumbles. They're going down and scoring 7. They're going down and scoring 3s. While you're not scoring at all, they're going down and scoring. Excellent way to win. I think Detroit was humbled last week, and they had more to fight about after the game than they did during the game. So, hey, look, you know what kind of time they're on. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning that one. Last game of the week, Seattle versus the Houston Texans. This is going to be a barn burner, folks. I feel like the offenses for these are going to show up and show out. I feel like both the quarterbacks are going to have 250-plus yards passing. C.J. Stroud's rolling. Nico Collins is rolling. The offense for the Texans is rolling. You know, Seattle is getting out there, and they're getting those turnovers on defense. The defense is holding their serve. But most importantly, you got to ask yourself, the new coaching staff, what is your idea and impression of what they're doing? They're the Baltimore Ravens of the West. They're essentially playing hard-nosed football. The defensive tackles are getting active, getting upfield, trying to flush out the pocket. C.J. Stroud's offensive line isn't the best, but the last couple of weeks they've been rolling. Their confidence, that insurgence of confidence. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, a true gunslinger with moxie. Yep, he reminds me of Brett Favre. The young Brett Favre. The younger, not the old Brett Favre, but the young Brett Favre. When you remember Brett Favre, when he first came to the Packers, he was running all over the place like Steve Young, like he was a little kid in the backyard, slinging the ball left and right. That's what it reminds me of. That's what it reminds me of. And we're going to switch gears a little bit. That's the NFL whole slate for next week. I got every individual game coming for you guys. I've already posted some of the videos for this week for the NFL. Make sure you tap in. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're sharing. Live stream chat. Make sure you're checking it out. But definitely make sure that those things are, because we got every single game every single week. Every single week I enjoy bringing the games to y'all. I enjoy going live with y'all. I enjoy seeing you guys each and every week in the comment sections, especially when I get the games wrong and y'all remind me that I got the games wrong. It's just like, hey, you got me. But no, it's sometimes it's you get them wrong sometimes. Sometimes teams just don't show up. Sometimes the teams just don't show up like you think they will. Doesn't matter how good somebody is on paper. If an all-pro player doesn't show up like he's supposed to, what can you do? But switching gears a little bit, I'm looking at the NBA. And the big question is Russell Westbrook getting blackballed. There was a lot of people talking about this week, Russell Westbrook getting blackballed, and you think about some of the players that are getting signed before Russ. One of the big things I think is Russell is a big personality. You won't be able to just bring Russ in and he just sit quietly on the bench and just be a backup role player. Russell Westbrook is a guy that's an all-NBA player. He's a guy that's averaging triple-double. So anything he does, it's going to be noted. It's going to be loud. It's going to be outlandish because you got to think, this is a guy that just last year he helped the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. He was putting up numbers in the playoffs for the Nuggets. He didn't get cut. He didn't get released. He didn't get pushed out of a team. But you think about this, the NBA is kind of a what you're good for in the beginning makes you bad in the end. Just look at Carmelo Anthony. As good as Carmelo was, his career was cut short because somebody didn't like him, because somebody didn't want him. They started spreading messages out to the other league. Hey, we don't want Carmelo. He's a diva. Hey, he's doing this. He's doing that. So he went to Portland. When he went to Oklahoma City, when he went to all these different places, they tried to change his game. When that's not who Melo is. Melo, I think, still can roll out of bed and give you 10 and 12. 10 and 12 points a night. But that's just where we are in the NBA. Russ is probably going to have to wait till there's an injury in training camp, or either a team that falls out of favor with somebody and trades somebody, or either loses somebody for a significant time and has to accept the role of coming out for bench, or accept the backup role, or accept the role of being a mentor to somebody. And you got to ask yourself, if you're in the league 16, 17, 18 years, whatever wrestler is, do you want to come in and be a mentor to somebody? Or do you want to finish out your career how you want to? Do you want to just come in and play? It's a tough world, man. Tough world. I saw that Jason Kidd got an extension from the Mavs. That's a good thing. I think this Mavs team is going to be dangerous. When you think about just overall what they've been through, the injuries to Kyrie, the injuries, the trade from Luka, they're headed in the right direction. They've got that number 1 overall draft pick. They've got a lot of stuff that they should be excited for. I think that this team is going to be a unique team. They've got a lot of talent, from D'Lo to Kyrie Irving to the rookie to the bigs to Marshall to PJ. So much talent on this roster. It's just so much on the roster. And I think Jason Kidd is the right coach to lead them in the right direction. When you think about where they are right now and what this team could potentially do, it could be a championship team. It could. Cooper Flagg could be the straw that stirs the drink that gets them over the cusp, if you will. You know? So it's stare in the camera and smile for me. All right, Tyler. But no, it's so much more. It's so much more. If Anthony Davis can stay healthy, if Klay Thompson can give them something special, it's tough. Very tough. Very tough, because you look at this and you ask yourself, what if the Dallas Mavericks get it right? Is this the year that they can crack the code with a team that's heavy with depth? Again, you may not get Kyrie back for the first couple of months, but this team is heavy with depth at almost every position. Can they coast a little bit the first 2 months of the season and be a playoff contender by April? The answer is yes. 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 With all the changes in the West, yes. Yes. It says it don't matter. Ant-Man won't be denied this year. Wolves in 4. Well, you got to think about this. Ant-Man has to close the deal. We've seen Ant-Man get to the cusp of it. We've seen Ant-Man get to the mountain, but he hasn't gotten to the very top. As good as the Wolves are, he has to have a running mate. He has to have somebody that he's running with, and he can't do it by himself, that he can depend on. We've seen the last 2 seasons, Ant-Man had so much energy. He's had so much greatness that he's tired. He's physically exerted himself to where in the end of games, he can't finish the game because he's asked to play defense. He's asked to play offense. He's asked to sell tickets, sell concessions. He's asked to be in the locker room. He's asked to help with the VIP parking. He's asked to do everything for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He can't hit every shot. He can't get an assist on every pass. They have to do something different. They have to make sure Reed's on the floor. They have to make sure DiVincenzo's on the floor. They have to make sure that they got guys that can hit open shots on the floor that are going to be grinders. When the loose ball goes out, you need to be jumping on the ground, going for the ball. When it's defensively, they need to be after it, attacking, just like he is on the defensive side. When you give your all on offense and defense, at the end of the game, you should be tired. Ant-Man still wants the ball for the final shot. He still wants to take on the best player defensively. That's what he's taking the challenge to do. So when you're leading by example, he's been in the off-season program. He's been in the gym all season. His work I'm not worried about. It's everybody else's. With all these goods and bigs that they have on this team, who's going to step up to help him? Who's going to step up and be in that running mate that he needs when he needs help? Just ask yourself, who's going to be it? Is it going to be Nas Reed? Is it going to be Julius Randle? Is it going to be Rudy Gobert, excuse me? Who is it going to be? Because what up, Gabe? You have a talented roster that essentially is one of the best in the West. You have one of the best rosters in the NBA, top to bottom. The Minnesota Timberwolves are missing nothing. They have shooting, they have defense. They just got to put it all together. They have to put it legitimately together. They have to put it together, folks. And when I'm looking at their roster, it's not many holes on the roster. Not many that I see. They've got a lot of two-way guys. When I think of Nas Reed can play two ways. Offensively, he's good. He helps with blocking. He helps with the team defense when he slides his feet, holds his hands straight up. They got a number of things that they're doing well. Ant-Man plays good on both sides of the ball. He goes after the best offensive player on a nightly basis. It doesn't matter if it's LeBron. Doesn't matter if it's Steph Curry. Doesn't matter if it's one of the young guns in the West or the East. Doesn't matter if it's Shea Alexander. He's going after the best defensive assignment. He's still giving you 20 to 25 points a night, adding in rebounds, adding in assists. So what more do you want from him to do? He's added his points per game per year. He's added his rebounds up, and he's added his assists up. His offensive efficiency is through the roof. Defense, too. It's only so much you can ask for. So, that's one of those tough things. But the West is loaded, folks. The West is loaded. The West is loaded. West is loaded. West is loaded. When you think of potentially who could make the playoffs from this, the West is loaded. And I'm just looking at Dallas. I'm looking at Denver. I'm looking at Golden State. I'm looking at Houston, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Spurs could have something to say about that. That's 9 teams. 9 teams. 9 teams. But that's just some of the stuff that I saw, folks. That's just some of the stuff that I saw. Again, if there's something that you want to see topic-wise, if there's something you want to see, notate it. Make sure you mention it in the comment sections on my videos. We definitely thank you guys for being on the live stream. I know it was late last minute, little live stream. But I want to thank y'all for all popping out. All 100 and 40-some, 50-some. But it's a lot going on. A lot of good stuff. When I think of all of what's going on and I think of just everything as far as the NBA season, I'm excited because the NBA season has a lot to potentially have. You know, I'm excited to see what's going to happen with some of these young teams. I'm excited to see the direction of some of these young teams. And then you just got to ask yourself, okay, with some of these young teams on the East, are some of these young teams on the East going to challenge? When you see a team like Atlanta retool, when you see teams like Orlando retool, when you see teams that are on the rise and they're making moves and shifting, what is Toronto going to do? It's a number of teams. I'm excited for NBA season. NBA season is right around the corner. We got about a week. You're going to have NBA on one side. You're going to have the NFL on the other side. You got the NHL kicking up. Sports is back, folks. This is the best time of year for sports because you got a little bit of everything all over the place. And it does not matter. It does not matter. From the first man on the bench to the last starter on the roster. The NBA season is back. It doesn't matter what team you've gotten. So, I'm excited for all the sports. I'm excited for everything, folks. Let me see. What other news and notes did I miss? What other news and notes? Did y'all see the Dodgers? The Dodgers closing out that series pretty soon. They're 2-up on the Brewers. 2-up on the Milwaukee Brewers. The Dodgers are probably going to win the MLB title. Just being honest. They played cat and mouse all game, all year long. They're just a talented roster, from the pitching to the hitting to a little bit of everything. They have the best hitter in baseball. They have essentially the best pitchers in baseball. They have some of the best lineups in baseball. It's just one of those things. It's really good, really good. They have a sound choice of how they're doing things, and that rotation lineup wise is tough to crack it. Because if you can't hit, you can't hit. You can't do anything with them. You can't score points to keep up with the Dodgers. You can't. They can play small ball. They can play home run ball. They got Freddie Freeman. They got Otani, who may go down as the best baseball player of all time. They have a cheat code for a roster. I can't remember the last time I saw a baseball team that was this loaded, like this legitimately loaded. The Dodgers are just loaded. They're loaded from top to bottom. I mean, Mookie Betts, let's talk about that. He doesn't even get mentioned a lot. Mookie Betts being on the Dodgers is tough. It's tough. Muncy, Hernandez, Dean, Pages. The team is just loaded, man. They've got every pitcher you can think of, foreign and American. Oh, they got Clayton Kershaw in his last year, too. He doesn't even have to start. He doesn't even have to come off the rotation any much. He can just do his one time in a series and that'd be it. Because they're deep at all positions. This is the dynasty, the Dodgers, spending all this money. And the way that they're manipulating the contracts of Otani and others, it's cheating. It's cheating. It's legit cheating. It's legit cheating. The way that they're rocking out, the way that they're doing things, is legit cheating. So, I'm excited. I'm excited, folks. And I want to thank y'all for coming out to the live stream. Once again, Sports Choice Plus on the YouTube platform. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to see different topics debated, if you want to see different things, if you want to sit down and debate with me, feel free. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you're sharing the videos in your YouTube platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, or X, if you will, and all the other streaming platforms that they have. And as always, I thank you so very much for being. Y'all are dope. Y'all are dope. Shout out to the, I don't even know. It's over, let me see. I can't see the numbers exactly. But we got over 250 people. 250 people that have come through tonight in less than an hour. I'm looking at the numbers now. 159 in the last 12 minutes that have been through the room. Shout out to all y'all, man. Shout out to every single one of y'all, man. Shout out to every single one of y'all, man. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the top fans. Shout out to the top commenters. It's greatly appreciated, folks. But until next time, remember, you got this, folks. Remember, sports. Sports Choice Plus. And we're out, folks. We're out.